All right, so day 46 of going through my old journal entries. And the quote for this day was, "For all sad words of tongue and pen, the saddest are these. It might have been." And then the prompt says, "Do you have some moments in your life that have you thinking about how it might have been, and do you plan on doing something about them?" So if you're following along, go ahead and pause and think about your response to this, and I'll be back in a second with my response. Okay, do you have some moments in your life that have you thinking about how it might have been? I said, honestly, I don't think I do. One thing I like about myself is that I don't really get strong feelings of FOMO, so fear of missing out. Sometimes I stress initially about decisions and spend time upfront researching and planning, but once the decision is made, I don't often dwell over how different things might have been had I made a different choice. And I'm really happy that I'm that way, because I know that some people will have this like, oh, I made a decision, and then they'll be second guessing it, and they'll be like, well, what if I, chose this? What if I made the wrong decision? And that's just one thing that I've noticed about myself that is different from some people, is like, I will stress about it a little bit up front, but yeah, it's kind of like more or less, there's been very few times that I've just like pulled the trigger and finally made a decision and then have regretted it. So, or really thought about like I should have made this other choice. Maybe there's been a couple times in the short run, but never really something I dwell on. And then I said, plus I don't feel like I've really held back on many things in my life. Compared to a lot of people, I've done many things. I've traveled and studied and had a lot of unique experiences. I think if I hadn't done some of those things in the past, I may have more regrets. And while the place I'm at currently feels like a bit of a hard place, I'm not sure that doing anything differently in the past would have gotten me to a better place. Of course, I wish I would have started getting my life together sooner in terms of building a better routine and becoming more self-aware. But I'm just glad that I've gotten to where I'm at and hope to keep moving forward. A lot of people don't ever get to where I'm at, so I'm thankful for all those decisions that I've made. So yeah, I don't know that there's like a whole lot more to add. I still feel that way. I don't really regret anything so far, I guess. Because if you change something, then you wouldn't be where you are. And since I'm not necessarily, I think I'm not in a bad place, and I still feel young at this point. So I feel like I've done a lot for my age already, and that anything that I want to do, I still have like time to do it in the future. So yeah. And I would say, if you have the opportunity to like do those things that you want to do, like I did, I was really fortunate. Maybe a little bit not reckless, but like, I don't know, like I could have more money saved up right now, but I did spend a lot of my money on traveling and things like that. Like I could have saved up for retirement and all that stuff, but I've kind of built up experiences. Like I've had a lot of experiences and I've done a lot of things, and so yeah, I mean, I don't have a massive retirement fund, but I also feel like I still have time. Like I've done a lot in my life. And honestly, the older I get, the less, there were things that I thought I would do when I was younger. Like I thought, oh, well, I'll do this at some point. Like just stupid example, like bungee jumping. I feel like that got really big when I was younger. and like skydiving, and I always just assumed like I'm this adventurous person, one of these days I'll go bungee jumping or skydiving. But the older I get, the less like those types of things appeal to me, and I absolutely don't regret like not doing it. Like at this point, I don't think I would ever skydive or bungee jump, but I also don't regret like not doing things like that. So I wonder if I got this age and there was a lot of like, I wonder if I hadn't traveled, if at this point I would be like, if it would be like the bungee jumping, if I would be like, oh, well, I haven't really traveled the world, but I don't really care to. I'm in a good place right now. I wonder how I would feel if I hadn't traveled the world. If there would be that like fear of missing out, that I need to do that before I die. But I don't know. Yeah, so far I've been fortunate that I don't have any of those thoughts of like what might have been. And I feel like anything that's still left, I still have time to do it. Like bodybuilding, I don't feel like I'm too old for that. And I see all of these like older people that are doing all these crazy things. So it leads me to think, hopefully, that I still have time to do whatever I still want to do in life. And once I finish my PhD, like I'll pretty much reach the peak of my education, and so I don't know. I may have felt a little bit of like, what if I would have, gotten married at a young age or had kids at a young age. I would get to this age and be like, well, what if I would have gone to college? But since I didn't do that, since I did go to school and get that done, I don't have that. And yeah, I think I'm to the point now that there's not a what if. I'm glad that I stuck to my guns and didn't get married and didn't have kids, because I think I knew deep down that it never felt right, with anyone. So I didn't do it, and I'm glad now. Yeah, so I'm not judging people that did have kids. I definitely don't think that my way is the way. I've definitely have friends that you just know, like there's a couple people in my life that I can think of that like they were made to have kids and have families and be mothers. They just have this like instinct or whatever. And so if that's what they felt compelled to do, I feel like they may have felt like they missed out if they would have gone to school and not had kids and started a family when they did. But for me, it's the opposite. I've never had that urge. I've never felt that motherly instinct. So I feel like I made the right decision. So yeah. All right, so that's day 46. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with day 47.